Hello. I think the stream should be live. And I am now the official. I should be now for the first time the host for the AWOL. Hello to everyone. I think you've been waiting for that. I need to somewhat find the stream myself first. Okay, I can see the chat. I think otherwise I don't have it. And I can't see the chat anyway, even though I found the stream. That is unfortunate. What's going on my end. Perfect. I can see the chat. Okay. I can try to select the correct stream for AWOL today. Then I can double click sorry that I missed this. We're like looking for the AWOL, but I have to be posted today and I haven't set up the everyone else is joining. I unfortunately didn't set up the gameplay beforehand. That was my bad, but I think, yeah, like this, it seems okay. So these ones are not up yet. So we can jump into round one. I'll just pick table one because I'm lazy to pick tables today. So we are in a game that's almost already over. That is quite what you want to see, but yeah, it's a fast game, it seems. Yeah, there we also get the timers. I have to maximize it? No. I'll try and adjust the timer. Yeah, this seems like it's working a bit better. Okay. So yeah, what's going on here? Well, we're seeing alpacas being on a Tajarcana list that is running Hydracanas and Lokis, which is pretty exciting. And on the bottom there is Zoa that I know especially as a Lindewe player, but now they are on Nevenka and they are looking quite strong on the Tumult, already only being one expedition away, and they just need 3 more stats in Mountain, and they are already taking the game. So yeah, looking strong for them. I think like this, the timer is working for now. Or not, because yeah, it's fine. But the game is over, so great commentary on Game Run. I'm a bit sorry about that. We only have 27 players today. That is interesting. Not as much as you'd like you used to see for the A1 Mondays. And yeah, since I can now kind of probably introduce what's going on here. We are on the 13th week today for AWOL, and I am casting alone today because Pandy had to help out someone, because he just to leave on quick notice, and Blue isn't home yet, so you also can't help when no one is around. You also couldn't make it, so I jumped in all of the sudden and had to start hosting for the first time. I yeah, still being a few minutes slow, and having to got dropped the game, and since I'm alone, I can really choose who I want to watch, and I kind of want to watch here alternate aces Madri against Alexis. Might be I let's start against Chocolate and alongside the meter, and currently the doesn't have anything to stop the Azzali, and it's also looking to okay, I'm what's the problem with that, and I can hear it. Okay, I changed the microphone. I hope that it's now working. Okay, yeah, this sounds much better. I hope that this is working better for you, and that I didn't manage to scare everyone away just due to the audio. I'm very sorry about that. I'm very sorry about that. I was trying to yeah, I just didn't add a different audio. Yeah, and this game went to Azzali, interestingly. Okay, so was it all the time like that? Like it was super hard to understand me. I'm very sorry for that. Yeah, I'm sorry for the demon. I hope it's fine now, and it should be fine for the rest. Oh no, Kojo is gone. What's going on, Cole? Oh, you played your first game on stream because I just spectated table one. Oh, let's go. Let's go to. Oh, Caleb is always cool playing cool decks. I like watching that against a Repost. Yeah, Caleb's still on on I think probably the Sabash arc, and yeah, that's pretty cool to see. Builds a deck with a curve specifically so it doesn't break bricks. Yeah, that is quite unfortunate. I've also now been experimenting with new decks, and yesterday I got my win on Ace with Nevenka, and that's a super funny Nevenka list, and I can everyone recommend either watching the 39 cards entry, I think it's already up, or also just rewatching my gameplay yesterday from Ace. There were some rails, I can say. That is everything I can say for now. But yeah, no, Cole was just mentioning in our group chat that I think the AKZ championship is up, but not Ace yet. And yeah, I'm not really concentrating on the games yet. Just I can either focus on gameplay or on stream or on chat, but I can't do can't do both. But currently the Sabash is ahead and is currently still looking to double progress with 4 stats more than the Afanas. But just a helping hand together with another. I think helping hand alone is it? Yeah, it's winning, right? It was 5 stats beforehand, and helping hand is adding 3 stats each time, so it goes up to 11-11. And with the cylinder boost, Sabash only goes up to 10. So unfortunately, the Afanas is getting a double advance here, and this is looking a bit tough already for Caleb here. Oh yeah, true. Roskata, I saw your message, but I took a nap immediately after and just fell asleep and didn't wake up since like almost before the AWOL start, and almost missed it. I also kind of oversaw that Blue was actually changing who's hosting today, because I last minute this morning said, well, I kind of forgot to make my streamer availability public, and then he just switched me in instead for him, and I almost missed that he still switched that in the time. But yes, still managed to get here, and yeah. But yeah, now I will be here for, I think, like the next 3 hours now. It's with these 7 rounders, it's almost always about 3.5 hours. So yeah. But yeah, now both players having to decide what to discard, and I think for either player it should, yeah, for the Afanas it should definitely be quite easy. The Alchemist is just worse than the Sneezer, and well, probably the Alchemist is actually even better at this point than the Sneezer. You're not really expecting to play multiple days at this point, and the Alchemist just has better stats. But I think it doesn't really matter too much, and you of course choose to keep your unique around, even if it's marginally worse. But this having to discard a card to get the anchor is quite tough. But yeah, if you're playing the the common magical trainings, you can just discard those, and you're quite happy about that most of the time, I think. Yeah, sure. I'll text you after this stream. I think you should be still up then. Knowing your schedule a bit. Oh, I shouldn't scroll down. Perfect. I think I should just maximize my window so I can't scroll down. And change the size of the thingy again. Yeah, like that, it looks okay to me. Maybe like that. Okay. just changing way too much on the timer. And yeah, Afana's now having double Mage Dancer set up into Machine in the Eyes and very few stats on that companion side as well, but not playing any spells yet. It's just the character Afana's, and the scariest spells now are Helping Hand, Beauty Sleep. I'd say they're putting out the most stats or taking the most stats, and oh, there's a discard ability from that Baku that is giving boosts when played. Interesting. I didn't know that support ability existed in Axiom, or at least I haven't seen that very much. Yeah, there's the first Helping Hand here for the Afanas, putting up 3 boosts into that hero side, and now if there's one more there, yeah, there needs to be 2 more boosts, because now this cylinder gives the last boost into hero side, and Afanas needs 1 more spell basically to get 2 boosts onto that hero side, and is winning the game therefore. And yeah, there's even a Joyride that is taking a lot more stats, making a lot more stats. So Afana's taking double advance here and winning round 1. And yeah, congrats to them. And there should still be a few games running. GG to both players here, and let's switch to another one. Does anyone have suggestions for watching tables today, even in future rounds? So I'm not always deciding myself, and maybe you find some interesting lists that I wouldn't find myself. That would be pretty sweet. But let's head to table for now. P against a Sodark. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing anything wrong, of course. And here we see a Fen against Lindaway, and they just get low-keyed. That is super cool, and we don't see that usually. And I think also we see Lokis more often in Tasia now than in Fen, but I really like this. But yeah, this is currently looking to trade expeditions. But why did they draw so many more cards? Why is the Fen on 5 cards after they low-keyed? What happened there? Draw 3? Yeah. Huh. That is interesting. Please don't watch any of my games. I can try. I need to remember which name it was, but today half of the players are on top 100. Yeah, that is very true. And now this Incaster gets answered by Off You Go, but can just be played again. And this Chrysalis still has to be sacrificed by Ispa, and if there's no other character here for Lindaway, it's gonna be tough for them. Also, if this Incaster isn't played again, they don't really have to do anything. Actually, if this Incaster is played again, they can just Off You Go it again, and it's fine for them. So we're going to a tiebreaker, but the Fen definitely up in card advantage. I don't quite know why they had 5 cards in hand after the Loki. Maybe I missed something there. Or maybe someone else can tell me why that happened. I am not sure at this point. But yeah, definitely now having 4 cards to 2 cards, 3 cards, and being up 2 mana, definitely a good spot to be in for the Fen. But I think this might not be the most standard list, so they are not running that many after use, I feel like. And there's another Babas Ispa for the Lindaway, and unfortunate that they find their Ispas that late into the game. Well, it seems like they got one early one, but it was probably discarded by a Cloth Cocoon. And now they kind of have to find a way to boost up their maw, and if there's a Twinkle Twinkle, they immediately just get very sad. More slow plays coming out here for the Fen with just more Martingales, and we do already see the maw, and probably the Babas Esport to go alongside it. And as soon as we see a Beauty Sleep, or a Twinkle Twinkle, or off you go, this Fen should be winning, since Lindway otherwise has no other way to get back in stats, and Lindway for now just slow playing and not wanting to show any removals if it's in hand, and the Lindway instead just keeps continuing playing characters, and actually there's no removal, and we still get 2 more sacks for the Lindway, and it seems like Lindway is winning. Even gets to play out Jellyfish again to put more to get the draw as well, and yeah, very beautiful tiebreaker here from the Lindway, and very unfortunate for the Finn that they had to pass with 2 more cards in hand and 6 mana left. Not sure what the final cards were there. That's interesting. Yeah, that I want to know now. But yeah, I think I just head to the next round, hopefully, or the next table at least. And yeah, we're already in round 2. So we can take a look at another game, and I kind of want to look at Wesh against Tempête de la Neige, but I'm a bit scared that it's just an Afana's Mirror, and I don't quite wanna cast that on round 2 yet. I just take a quick look if it's actually Afana's against Afana's, but yeah, I can't see it yet. They are definitely already chatting with each other on the table. So let's head over to some players that we know a bit less of, or see a bit less often. And how about the Chaser TCG against Artemis here on table 29? Some names not too known to me. I think Artemis I've seen quite a bunch, the name. But yeah. The Chaser is not that known to me, and okay, I was scared for a second that my timer again is a bit cut off, but yeah, now it's working. And we see a Nevenka against a Kesha here, and early resources used for both sides with Magical Training and Trickster, but a Kesha finding the 1-0 for now by using that Off You Go onto the Trickster. Sweet start. And I already kind of imagine that this could be some tempo version of Kesha, but I think Studious Disciple and Off You Go are still pretty much run by every Kesha deck, but of course using Off You Goes this early like that, I think could indicate to some tempo style Akeshas, but definitely Akesha can be everything, and I'm very curious to see what it is in the end. I also just realized the gameplay wasn't quite bordered, so I fixed that quickly, and hope that looks okay now. Oh, and I'm forgetting to switch scenes in between. Yeah, that I should maybe also change. And we do see some more slow playing from the Nevenka, playing out Trickster first and afterwards the Magical Training. I would have assumed that you usually play it the other way around, so your Trickster won't immediately get answered. But yeah, currently the Akesha is trying to contest this Trickster, but a single roll and boost from the die here is blocking this, and despite going down 1 on the first day, the Vanguard is now going up 1 on the second day by taking that double advance, and that is looking good for them. But of course the Chrysalis leaving the expedition is creating that more, and that is looking to stick around there for now. So at least Akasha got something going for them. And now, going into day 3, I think the Nevenka either wants to keep playing Magical trainings out or wants to also get some of their uniques online if they are running some of these beautiful mage dances to return cards. But both players currently just slow playing by playing out Magical trainings and just waiting for the action of the other. That is always super fun to see. Just who can slow play longer. And there's already a discounted Hathor be played from reserve. And this is kind of indicating that they kind of now only want to contest hero side, or otherwise just let this Hathor go to reserve so they're not overflowing as many resources. And yeah, we already see the Hathor be returned to reserve, and they can now just be happy and play that, use that discard ability and play any character from hand to get the 1-for-1 or the 1-0 by playing out that Sandinus. And Nevenka is in a super nice position. They pick up the Magical training again, get up now by 2 expeditions, and can just keep playing to recycle their Magical trainings over and over again. That is super sweet for them. And yeah, just by cycling all these Magical trainings, the Nevenka is up 1 card while also being up 2 expeditions on the Tumult, and this is a rough spot for any deck, I believe. Being down on expeditions and cards, I think, yeah, there are very few decks that can still function off that. And if there's one, I think it's Akasha, especially the Kadegi Akashas, but the deck currently isn't really indicating to me that it's that type of Akasha, but maybe it still is. And we see the first unique of the game in this beautiful Armor Rock. It's just sending to reserve. It's not quite discarding, but still sending character to reserve, which is nice. And also when something joins its expedition, it sacrifices a target character. That is super nice, this sacrifice 1 character instead of sacrifice it. So you can get the so you can get to sacrifice something else in the other expedition and use it a bit better for things like Lindaway. That's super sweet. But still, even though there was an additional off you go basically onto that Armor Rock, the Nevenka still had a Hathor to single advance and can now again loop the Magical trainings. I think this is the first one going to reserve, and they are just happy to just keep slow playing by using Magical trainings and picking up some resources. Can you zoom out just a bit so we can see? Oh yeah, sure, I can try that. I haven't looked at setting up the stream too much, but yeah, I can definitely do that. Yeah, okay, yeah, like that it should be better. Thanks for mentioning that. And now to make it even, you can also see these stats a bit better on the other side. Need to zoom out a bit more. Yeah, like that. Now fit it into the border again, and I think that should be fine. Okay, And now that is an interesting turn. Akasha being being down on the tumult. Nevenka basically being 2 expeditions away, plus using a small step, and Akasha wants to develop a Ethershard Bastion that is not doing anything with the turn it's played, but Ethershard to me by now is indicating that it's actually a Akasha list, and yeah, that it's a category list, and yeah, those do usually not care too much about being down on the tumult, but they definitely care about having the correct cards in hand, and by day 6 they definitely want to have category plus celebration day, and if it's not in the hand yet, it might be tough. And also if there's a small step for the Nevenka already, the game is definitely already over. And yeah, we do see that after you, and maybe already the small step, since I think most of the Nevenkas are still running small step. I think the difference between Nevenka and Fen is that Fen usually operates on more cards than the classic Nevenka build. Of course, this Nevenka still having picked up a lot of resources, so they can work out the late games. But usually I think that small step is best in decks that are running low on resources in the later stages of the game. And decks that have a lot of resources usually don't need it as much, since they can just win the late game off of their resource advantage. And I think Nevenka usually struggles a bit more with that, so they should still be using 1 or 2 of small steps, in my opinion. But yeah, neither of what I kind of hope for is happening here. Nevenka doesn't have a small step giant leap, and Nevenka and Akasha isn't playing the categories to just prevent players from moving forward for now. And therefore it's looking quite tough. This Amarok, of course, can still send something back to reserve, but yeah, it's still kind of threatening at this point. Just slow playing now with the Studious Disciple and looking what the Nevenka will do. And Nevenka can't slow play that easily anymore, since both of the magical trainings are on reserve, and uses Hypothermia instead. That's a card we don't get to see that often. I really like this card, but I'm a bit surprised. But yeah, I still like it very much. But it's unfortunately just putting the Studious Disciple to sleep. Not much more at this point. But it's still quite a decent after you, and the Akasha can, I think, now easily send this Tomoe to reserve and take a double advance. I think there's not much that's stopping it. Actually, another Cernanos together with the Nevenka role is winning here. And a Sandman as well. Or a 5-stat Flamel, that is also taking it. So GG to Artemis. Seems like they were never really scared of anything and closing the game out very nicely. So congrats to them. Ending the game with double uniques, that is super cool. And there are actually quite some nice uniques. So we can, I wanted to switch scenes for them. definitely someone that I know by now, and I know them for their Gulrang playstyle. And yeah, currently it's looking not too good for them, only getting double progression at this point, and the opponent's Afanas having an anchored Sneasel Shroom that sticks around as a 5/5/5. So that is looking quite strong. And also Afanas being 3 expeditions away by this point at this point, and having quite a nice hand. But of course, the Gulrang, it's not often that you see a Gulrang with that many characters, having that many cards, having 6 cards in total at this point. That is super insane. Hello, Hero's Guide to Asgartha. Not used to seeing that child around, but yeah, today I'm alone, so yeah, so one of you could have joined me, of course, but yeah. Oh, I also I didn't see Keelan in chat already. Yeah, being alone today, yeah. But yeah, today my room is a bit messy, so there's no cam from me. But yeah, I think that's fine as well. And for now, yeah, the Afanas is looking super strong here. I think it's very hard for the Gulrang to contest this day. And yeah, I think getting 1 expedition this day is manageable for the Gulrang. But beating out that Sneasel Shroom, if there's no teamwork training, that might be a bit of a tough call. Oh, you're packing your bags for the fight. Yeah, your flight is this week. You're flying this week, right? Appreciate you listening to my voice. That's always great. And the Gulrang here using basically an after you in that rallying call, and can now still play out Sunisa for I think 5/5/5, and use rallying call alongside it to get the 1/1 on that companion expedition. But yeah, shouldn't be too happy about it, since I believe at this point they do want double expeditions, and every advance that the Afanas gets is getting scarier and scarier for the Gulrang. And maybe they have a more efficient way to deal with this and get the 1/1, but they definitely have an obvious way in reserve to get the 1/1. And yeah. Oh, you're off tomorrow. Then have fun on your vacations. And oh, that is the wrong expedition here for the Gulrang. They should have played it opposite side, so they actually get the 1/1, because Afanas is only on a 6/5/5, and they would be on a 6 in that mountain terrain to actually get an advance themselves. And yeah, it's this makes it a bit tougher not getting the advance themselves. Of course, the crucial part is stopping the Afanas, but at this point you definitely also want to advance yourself, otherwise it's very hard for you. Hopefully you don't have to fight them. Yeah, that is yeah, that is understandable. No bears in the wild of Iceland to fight. And yeah, we see both bears pass. Afanas getting the single advance, and yeah, also by now being on the same amount of cards, well, having less cards in hand, but the advantage of 2 cards in reserve. You could argue that magical training isn't that much of a help in the reserve, since you usually have to bounce it some ways. But yeah, it's still resources that you theoretically have available, even if it's a bit harder to play out. But yeah, it's super cool to see a Gulrang having 6 cards in hand. That is so much. But being 3 expeditions down by now. That's tough. Waiting for the mining. Yeah, making decisions that late into the game and figuring out which of your pieces are important for now and which are important for later stages of the game, when you know that if you manage to not lose, that you still have to find a way to win yourself, and sometimes you don't quite realize what tools you need for the future, and that makes manaing decisions very hard on many cards, just to figure out what cards are helping you win in the late game. And yeah, now also Opharnes is facing the same problem. It doesn't work. Gulrang is defender. What? Oh, the Zenisa was defender last round, so it wouldn't have advanced. Oh yeah, it wasn't behind. Okay, yeah, I see that, yeah. There's internet issue. Oh. That's on whose part? But yeah, oh, true. I really like this meadow tech in the deck for Overlost, just getting out the bureaucrats cheaper, and that is super cool to see always. Oh, BJ is having issues again. Oh no, please don't. That is always rough. I just hope it works out fine. And we do see a lot of bureaucrats being played here now, and that is actually a pretty solid spindle, and that is quite rough for the Opharnes having to play out that 3-cost magical training to find additional things. And Flamel still would be looking quite nice in the hero expedition, but I think this, oh yeah, this is a very nice Orders Overseer, creating 3 tokens and exhausting at the same time. That is super impressive of a card. It's almost a open the gates, but it's missing 1 token. Otherwise it would be the open the gates. But why is this creating 3? Oh, it's creating 1 for every bureaucrat. I see, yeah. I remember those. Yeah, the Overseers are that is super nice. I'm always forgetting that the rare version of that is getting the boosts for every bureaucrat you control. Yeah, I'm also hoping you win your meeting, Cole. We're rooting for you. Oh, you could. I was just about to say you could have teamwork training the Spindle Harvester here, and yeah, actually it would have still been better. The Beauty Sleeps unfortunately still gets the single advance, and now Opharnes is in small step range. And yeah, I think just this sending to reserve the Alchemist is still probably a bit better when you're knowing there's 1 more spell that's available, and putting enough stats onto the board that the Alchemist could win is threatening there. So removing the Alchemist is understandable, but of course that teamwork, that Beauty Sleep is still winning there, and maybe winning the game when the small step is in hand. And yeah, that could be it already, but let's see what players actually do. So I think usually if the Opharnes players waiting on their first action, usually means that they don't have the small step yet, and they try to figure out a way to win regardless. But Gururang still having their overseer available, that's creating 2 tokens at this point, and also the attorney that would be adding potential tokens to their overseer. I wonder if there, I think Overloss is playing 2 overseer uniques in their list, and I wonder if there's a rare overseer as well, just to have that same on-play effect to create the tokens. And usually the Afanas turns in late games, they try to why Afanas players are taking so long. They are trying to find out how they most effectively use their mana, so they are spending time at the start of the game to prepare their manaing decisions for the entire day, and try to plan what can happen and try to plan their mana around that the most they can. But yeah, it can definitely be difficult at sometimes. You're not playing the rare overseers anymore. But yeah, I could see those actually being decent in a bureaucrat based Gururang list. I might have to copy some of your Gururang ideas for my challenge on the 39 cards adventure. I still have to win on 5 more heroes to have 1 with every hero, and that includes Gururang, Azadi, Sierra, and Rin and Arjun. And now both players sabotaging each other. I think getting rid of that overseer is quite valuable here for the Afanas, since that was probably the biggest threat going into that companion side. But Afanas already being kind of out of resources and having to use that Conjuring Seal for now to redraw cards, but still having 4 mana left and a bunch of 1-cost spells in the deck is looking quite okay. Yeah, I've taken the lead in the hero challenge. Currently missing only 5 more. I think Keelan is on 6 and Freeloader's either on 7 or 8. So we're all still quite close, but currently I'm in the lead. And as soon as the ace from yesterday is uploaded, you can see my beautiful Navenka entry, and it's containing a lot of rails. But for now, it's interesting. This Afanas is still running a bunch of alchemists in their list. I think in set 2, a lot of players have dropped those even as commons and are playing different things for now. But currently, this bottom of Afanas is making quite decent work of those, and is putting 777 stats up, and that's quite tough. But maybe there's still a way here, maybe in some kind of removal for the Gururang to get rid of this. But any removal would probably still lose to most of the 1-cost spells. I'm cheating because I'm playing no unique and ace. Oh yeah, that is unfortunate. He could just stream his own ace, own no unique gameplay. Nah, just kidding. I see that for an actual stream you want to actually be casting and not playing meanwhile. Unlike you did once, but you weren't hosting at least. And yeah, that Afanas still had another beauty sleep, or picked that up earlier on. So Afanas got the win and gets to move on. But I think it's a 1-1 bracket now for the Afanas anyway. So let's see if we're already in round 3, and now we still have some more games left. I should switch the scenes again. I'm always forgetting that. against HAT Phantom Beta. And Moondust, for me, definitely one of the very innovative players, and always having some spicy decks. That's why I love to watch them so much. And here for Phantom Beta, we are already seeing a Coppelia unique in play. And that is just looking to resupply. So it's decent. And this is looking at the reserve and the discard. This isn't the most usual Tasia list, and it's definitely including Rams, which I like. And let's look at this. Oh yeah, it's a Poverty list. Having Reporter Orders is well interesting, and Conemans that have Ganesha triggers. So for anyone a bit familiar with our team AKZ, we love to be cooking up decks, and a bit ago we tried to come up with a Muna list that is revolving around Ganeshas and maybe even trying to go infinite. And yeah, this seems to be a similar style of play here from Moondust, and that is cool to see. We came to a different conclusion in Uniques, that we are not looking for Conifer and not looking for Ganesha, for cheaper Ganeshas, but we are looking for different kinds of Poverties. So we want to max out on play abilities over the low cost Ganeshas. But yeah, I came to the realization that even if you ever get a Ganesha combo online, it's super hard, if not even impossible, to actually go infinite with Ganeshas. And the dream, of course, with that was playing your entire deck in a turn. That is the dream Ganesha combo, but I'm not quite sure how to pull that off yet. Unless having way too much mana. And yeah, the Ganesha combo currently seems to not be working out too well for Moondust. They are even getting timed out here, and we're also looking quite bad on the Tumult. So yeah, Phantom Beta taking the game for now, and with the timeout we should also be moving on to round. It's Fen against Sigisma, but it's Hathor against Krugex, and I believe that Hathor is the player that got first on our Thursday AQZ championships, and they had some disgusting uniques for Sigisma, so I am prepared to see those here as well now. Is this one of the top tables actually? Let me check. Is this undefeated, this table? No, this table isn't undefeated, so yeah, we can take a look at this. So for day one, it's always it seems very hard usually for a fan to contest day one into a Sigismo when going first, but luckily they were going second, get a slow player card, and then afterwards play Incaster and get a 1-for-1. I'm not quite sure how they got a 1-for-1 without being sabotaged here. I might have missed that. But yeah, actually, how did that happen? Oh, probably they played out Mechanic first, then there was the Magical Training, and then they played Legate. I think that might be the ordering here. And yeah, Fen again looking to just a slow play, getting to play out Magical Training. Luckily, hitting the resupply of Hathor to bounce that Magical Training and just play it while again. And being on 5 cards already, that is looking super strong. And yeah, this state now is looking a bit tough. I think they either need to find a Macpang or a Nancy this turn to not go down on the Tumult. And if it's not the end of the world, since building up resources in the early game for Fen and then looking to capitalize on that later is usually their game plan anyways. But if they manage to just get resources in the early game and still get to go even on the Tumult, that is definitely a super nice way to win in the Sigisma matchup. And yeah, if there's Macpang or Nancy, this is a 1-for-1. There could still be other ways to just go down one expedition this day, but that's a bit harder, I believe. And yeah, having to make decisions and not quite knowing yet what to play. And if there's no answer, I think it's also fine just to pass this turn or use the discard from Incaster to play 3-cost Magic Training. But usually playing a Magical Training from reserve when you don't have a second one in hand feels quite bad, because you really want to bounce your Magic Trains over and over again, and just losing them for a card draw, even though that seems okay, is not quite what you want to do always on Fen. But let's see what actually ends up happening here. And yeah, there's actually just the Macpang now from hand, and this is a common one, but yeah, definitely also doing the work here. I'm kind of used to be seeing rare Macpang hoarders at this point to get 2 boosts and make them a bit stronger. But sometimes these common Macpangs are also just working out fine and getting the job done. And yeah, that definitely was the case here. And Fen getting to trade expeditions for now. And yeah, being super far ahead in cards, having 2 cards more at this point already. Not quite having the Magical Training bounce, and actually this might be a decent time for the Cloth Cocoon resupply. They have to keep it 1 more round in reserve, just because of the Grand Endeavor and Monolith Legate threat. But yeah, as soon as those turns are over, Fen can just pass that thing into mana again, and they are into discard again, and they are happy just to see this card show up for 1 or 2 turns in their reserve, and just have the threat of that immediately removing any permanence of coming down. So super sweet for them, and probably better to resupply this card as than drawing it. And we interestingly already see Fen use their Cloth Cocoon onto the Mage Dancer. I wouldn't have quite expected that, but yeah, they are currently still even in mana therefore, and playing out another Baba Yaga to draw some more cards. This should be setting up an easy 1-for-1 with the Fen now. They should always be able to outstat this Orders recruit. Do we have any info on Tumult Championship progress for each hero? I am not quite sure what that's about. Maybe you can tell me a bit what you mean by that. Yeah, this turn super nice for the Fen. They get to play the Incaster again and most likely get to bounce their magical training, and also having that a cappella training to just threaten more resources from the Sigismar is also very nice for the Fen. They basically have 2 slow plays for the next turn with magical training and a cappella training before they have to do anything really to the board, and can just wait out what the Sigismar is doing, and actually resupplying a second cappella training, so they could in theory slow play a bit more, but yeah, that might be a bit too much, but yeah, usually you can just set up enough for Anansis and then win with those. And yeah, now the choices, if you just keep slow playing by playing magical by playing acapellas, or if you already commit a character and keep your acapellas for actually attacking the resource. What factions have 1 tumults to get Kurukami? Oh yeah, I definitely haven't kept up with any of that. I don't really know what's the progress on that one. I can tell for my local championships that Afanos and Sigismar have won so far, but yeah, for more, I definitely don't know about that. In this turn currently, Fen is looking to just attack more and more resources here for the Sigismar, but is looking therefore quite weak on the Tumult. I think there's still potential for Magpeng here, just to take a 1-for-1, or yeah. Is there a lot else? Actually, Hathor is there as well. And a few characters that would be winning on Mountain are there as well for the Fen, but that would be going down once. And yeah, even though it looks fine to go down, I think you didn't really get enough resupplies yet to be confident in actually getting back on the Tumult if you're going down once now. But maybe that's what Fen has to do here. And we do see a Lyra Cloth Dancer coming out here that is winning that hero expedition and is looking to give fleeting to this attorney, which is quite nice. And also Fen gets to bounce their magical training again, which is the important part. And now it's interesting to see what else they keep around in reserve, if they decide to keep double incasters just for the cost reduces, or if they want to keep their unique for magical training bounces. And that is usually telling a lot about the playstyle of the Fen. And I myself I'm not sure, I would probably actually prefer having the Cloth Dancer around just for bouncing. But yeah, game looking super even, and Sigismar currently managing to also go even on lower resources, but actually they are on 5 cards as well, having 1 card less in reserve. But for now, Fen's reserve is definitely looking a lot stronger than the ones of Sigismar. We do see another Baba Yaga. It's the third already of the game here for Hathor. And just keeping up that draw engine and the cards in hand. We do see an immediate slow play in that a cappella training, and that is super interesting to see a Fen that is still running 3 of a cappella training just for the slow plays and the strength of the early game. I feel like by now most of the players have dropped the a cappella training just because it's not as consistent to bounce as the magical training, and usually you're not really going up in resources if you repeatedly manage to give fleeting to your opponent's characters. You're just both playing on very low resources, and I don't think that Fen necessarily is super good in playing on low resources, and yeah, therefore I think most of the Fen players by now prefer just having 3 of magical training and probably 1 of a cappella training. But yeah, it's currently looking okay for this bottom Fen here, and they do have another magical training that they picked up last turn with Ankasatru. Yeah. So getting to slow play once more. By now, surely having found at least one what's it called, Nancy. But seeing the charge here, they can also just play out their Cloth Dancer, get 1 for 1, and give fleeting to the cadets here. And that should be a fine line for them. But other than that, it doesn't look too easy for them to find a meaningful lead, even though being ahead on resources that much. Is a Nancy would be 7 stats. So a Nancy plus the Cloth Dancer would actually be going up here for the Fen. But seems like they don't have a Nancy yet. So it's just the Cloth Dancer, and therefore just getting resources onto the board. Also getting to use magical training and just build up more of a card advantage, hoping that it's meaningful in the early game, in the later stages of the game. But usually the card advantage doesn't mean as much if you don't find ways to get cost reducers into your reserve just to set up to play as many cards from your hand as possible, or to play as slow as possible. And yeah, usually having many cards not too valuable if they all cost 2 to 3 mana. And we do finally see a Nancy here for Fen, and already the 3rd magic training, I believe it is by now. Oh no, they're still on their 2nd magical training. That is crazy. When we do see the first unique here coming out for Hathor, and look at this. This is a 2/2 cost, no condition, create 2 tokens in my expedition. That is an absurd unique. But Fen gets to find some magical trainings, fill up their reserve, and this Anansi by now might be able to contest this Paper Herald. But yeah, it's still quite strong, this paper. Also, usually the way you answer these Sigismar boards with these insane uniques, you just off you go them. You just either have to 1 turn basically go for a single advance and on the 2nd turn you just play a off you go onto their strong unique, so they get 1 turn value out of those, but afterwards they are gone and you can just focus on playing out the game afterwards. But here Fen is just giving fleeting to it, so they get rid of it that way, And that is super nice here for the Sigismund getting to play the attorney, so they would get value out of losing that expedition, and it's making the decision a bit tougher for the fan here to know which expedition to play. But I think still, if there's some 2 cost left, so the Anansi could take a advance here. They might still go for that, but if there's a 2 or 3 cost, they should definitely play that first, and afterwards their Anansi, just to see how the stats are actually distributed, or if there's still a 1 cost left in hand for the Sigismund here. And I think I would have actually preferred seeing that Tinkerbell be played first for the fan, but yeah, they can now play a magic training, and I think you still really care about not giving Sigismund resources, but that's fine. Getting to draw. And they are even. And it's super unfortunate being that ahead in materials, but not finding a meaningful lead. This turn it was pretty much due to the unique, since those are just, as soon as they're played, looking to single-handedly win the expeditions. But other than that, also not really finding valuable ways to play Anansi, and also only having found 1 yet. You would definitely now expect to either have them in mana or still some Anansis left in hand, and we do finally get to see one of the discount support abilities to help out this Fen with manaing, and yeah, that is definitely what you want to see. Fen now contesting onto that hero expedition, getting the sabotage onto attorney, and we do see the immediate answer of the Sandman that's going after the Tinkerbell, and that's what's bad on Fen sometimes, that if you don't have after use in the late game anymore, you're really weak to these types of removals or sleeps. And yeah, we do see a beauty sleep for the Nevenka here as well, so they get to put to sleep the Sandman and hopefully find a way to beat out anything else that is going after that companion side. Maybe we do see a rallying call here for the Sigismund is super good, but I think still if we see a Nancy here onto either side, that is looking super strong for the Fen, that could alongside it pretty much sleep anything else that is coming out. But if there's no Anansi, this is still a tough position for Nevenka, for Fen. It's good that I'm alone on stream. I usually mistake every single character and name and put everything in, and now I'm alone to make these mistakes on my own. That is amazing. And this this play right here is a bit scary, just because there's either the potential for teamwork training, which you can just replay your Anansi onto the other side, or there's 1 cost plus rallying call, and that would also take a double advance for the for the Sigismund here. And I'm not sure if you would expect a 1 cost as well to be in the hand here for the Sigismund. But also, Sigismund probably has to be scared of another Magpeng here that's available for the Fen, since that would also be taking onto that hero expedition. So tough choices for either player, and If there's now a Mech Pang, it's over. So let's be hoping for some more Mech Pangs. And we do see the discard of at least a 1 Twinkle Twinkle and a second Twinkle Twinkle. So maybe a Aloy coming down? Oh no, it's a Lyra Chronicler unique. And this one is super nice. And yeah, it's winning the game. GG's to Gregooks. Beating down Hathor. Giving them their second loss of the day. And yeah, that game felt quite long. And congrats to the fan. That was looking super sweet. Yeah, a lot of tables have already finished. I again. And yes, Cyrus Onion is on the deck that I know them for. They are Lindaway, but currently looking to lose into a decent anchor setup for Tasia, and yeah, arriving on the final day, and there's the win for the Tasia. Against Asil, since they are in tiebreaker, and this is looking super nice. It's a Traced against Afanas, and Traced is looking to do a bunch of resupplies due to the Ouroboros Bastion. And yeah. And for now, yeah, still looking to resupply, finding to figure out a way to play here. Currently being way down under Tumult, having to face a pretty huge Spindle Harvester that is just drawing cards, and another Auto Stripper that's also drawing cards. Oh, interestingly, we do not see the usual bouncing setup on uniques for Rico Fenric here. And to get rid of those cards, we have to refresh. And now we can see more resupplies coming down for Traced. But I'd imagine it's quite tough for them to get back in stats. They currently need 3 stats in water. And if there's one more spell left for Farnas, it's unfortunately taking the game. And that is GG. Farnas taking the game by a single stat in water. Otherwise it would be a tie and we would go to another round. But yeah. GG to Rico Fenwick. Dilopus? Yeah. Should be something like that. And it's another Afanas against Sigismar. Currently Sigismar being ahead on the Tumult. It's Afanas' turn to play. They have an Asleep Spindle Harvester. And they have to beat out a single recruit. If the last card in hand is a spell and it's not drawing cards, you've lost, unfortunately. But it's an off you go that is looking to go down on the Tumult yet, but it's not yet losing. So Still a comeback possible for the fan here. I should maximize this. Yeah, okay. So, players chatting with each other. I still don't understand French, unfortunately. But actually, Caballo being on 516 elo, that is quite an impressive amount. And currently showing it on the Tumult, being 2 up against the Nafanas. But I think Sigisma against Nafanas is still one of the Sigisma favored matchups. It just feels super unplayable playing uniques into Sigisma since they all just get immediately removed. And looking at the uniques for Fanas, they are looking quite decent, but definitely the ADA is not what you were used to see from a Fanas, but the Studious Disciple looked quite nice. Fanas for now getting to slow play, drawing cards and playing magical trainings. Meanwhile, Sigisma is just developing the board. We do see that Moth to Flame coming out here, looking to put out the first character onto that hero side. They do still have to find a way to outstat that Sandman currently. And gone for today's new accusing member. Yeah, definitely that sounds like a great member. Yeah. The Kojo is just taking a walk through the currency tower. This turn is looking super scary for the Afanas. They do have enough mana for the off you go, but otherwise, anything that's... The Sigisma still has 3 mana left, so anything that's removed will likely just be replayed or be replayed from hand. And if there's a removal for the Sigisma, this more wouldn't threaten the expedition anymore as well. So yeah, I think as a Fanas you kind of have to play around. Yeah, you kind of can't play around removal, so you have to find the best way to just put out stats, I imagine. Yeah, we are about to spread the tales of the newest hottest AKZ member gone for today. that is a good idea. Yeah, Fanas still has Helping Hand to put out. I believe that's the card that's putting out as many boosts as possible for Nafanas. But yeah, it's currently only looking to get up to 7/7 worth in stats, and any 2-cost mountain character is taking the win here for the Afanas, and that's what the Attorney is looking to do. So Afanas taking this one. Congrats to RJT Caballo. We just have to wait for the game to finish out, and then we should be able to directly jump into round 4. And we do still see magical training coming out, but it's not enough. So yeah, no more mana left for Fanas. Caballo just has to make sure to pass as fast as possible so they can't get timed out or lose to time. And yeah, we do see the passes, and that should mean we're going into round Aslan, and I think we got to see them for a short moment earlier on their Traced, and it's a Kesha against Traced matchup, and Traced looking to take the first advance of the game. I'm a bit surprised to not see a 1-for-1. I would have expected that if the Alice wouldn't contest a Keelan Elemental if... But, here we cannot hear you. Oh, you can't hear me on this scene swap. Oh, that is good to know. Yeah, well... now I have missed. Yeah, you have definitely missed any potential spoilers for set 3. Yeah, I think I was just saying I'm not feeling sick yet, but maybe I'm catching something since my girlfriend just recently got sick. But yeah, we can look at this beautiful full game here now and see Traced against Kesha, and I think the last turn Earlier might have chosen to contest that Keelan Elemental just to bait out resources from the Traced, and they don't care about expeditions too much. That's the only explanation I could have for seeing that Alice contesting an obviously lost expedition. And we do now see that this Trace is actually a Ouroboros configuration for Traced, but this is not one of the super insane uniques that is putting out either a lot of stats or brass bucks when anything is resupplied, and instead it just looks to resupply and be probably one of the more Haven-centered Traced gameplays. And yeah, now Olaya getting back on the tumult by just playing out the Studious Disciple and Trace not having a 1-cost to play after that Ouroboros Bastion, but yeah, still having that resupply in reserve, so Trace might be looking to already pop off and get their counters maxed out, since with any support ability that is resupplying, Trace is looking to dig through their deck quite fast and get quite a lot of counters, so they can put cards into their reserve as early as possible. And yeah. But for now, we do see Rhymefrost coming out, so no no resupplying for now, unless there are some cards like Frozen Delivery to resupply from hand. But I think other than that, Traces are usually quite limited on resupply effects from hand, right? But yeah, still definitely having the Keelan Elemental that is looking strong in the Hero Expedition, and probably the single play that plays alongside it from hand, I would expect, since the Alice is also looking quite strong on that Hero Expedition. The Vike is now also enabling that mechanic to be played again, but I don't expect it to be actually played, since it would overload the reserve for now. You could hope to resupply into a 1-cost, but I'm not sure that's actually what you want to do, and I would just prefer taking the 1-for-1, playing the elemental opposite side and forcing that Alice as an answer, but actually still going for that resupply, wanting to contest a bit more and dig through their deck, finding actually a Frozen Delivery, so getting a few more counters onto their hero ability, and with 1 or 2 more support abilities, they're already set up their hero ability, and that would definitely be nice. But earlier recognizing that and just exhausting the Frozen Delivery, but sadly the Vike still lets it be played out. And I also kind of thought that Vike is only making cards be played again, but it's characters be played again, but it's in general just all cards. But here gets to play out Baba Yaga for additional card draw, so still decent for the Akasha here. And of course Traced still having to discard down now to 2 cards, not getting the 4th counter since it's not discarding during the day, but at dusk. So yeah, not the best, but I think each player is still in a fine position, and they both should still feel comfortable. Interestingly enough, Trace is not choosing to keep that Vike around, and instead wants that kill elemental. Yeah, the elemental is stronger on the board, but we've definitely already seen that the Akasha is running Exhaust, and I wouldn't expect that Rime Frost to be the only Exhaust card on the deck. I would definitely at least also expect some Rime Frosts here. And yeah, so I think that Vike could have a bit more value in a matchup like that. But yeah, let's see if the Vike would make a difference, or if this cylinder, the pure stats of the elemental are good enough. But also for both players, this looks to be a game that's quite low on resources. But of course, a Trace is never really low on resources as long as they have their Lyra Bastion in play. This card just resupplying over and over again. It's just looking super strong. And you don't really worry too much about card advantage when having that card out. Since most of your deck is just resupply effects, and also just resupply effects that replace themselves by passing the turn and putting out stats. But also there are resupply effects that don't really replace itself with, don't really put out stats like this Inari. But Traced prioritizing actual stats right now over just digging through their deck. I think I would still kind of, depending on of course what your deck is, I think I would just prefer digging through your deck with support abilities and finding havens or whatever else your win condition might be, and not yet already stopping on Amelia's here. But Akasha being on the slow play gameplay for now, just playing out magic trainings, waiting to see what Trace is doing. Trace definitely also already has some slow plays in their reserve by playing out Amelia, and can wait to see what the Akasha is doing. So either player just wanting to get more information from the other. And yeah, there we see the Amelia be played out, and we see an after you here, just waiting. Maybe this after you could signalize that there's one of the 5 cost spells for the Akasha, but actually I wouldn't expect that, since that is not really doing a whole lot here. But definitely those can be fun. Still the Traced having 2 mana left, so they can play out their elemental. They can still tap their hero to put a card on reserve, and they put into reserve a cylinder that is looking good, but I kind of doubt it's being played this day. I think I would have still yeah, actually you have to play your cylinder here. Oh, and we see a Pamela, a moose coming out, and luckily it's the rare version, since otherwise it wouldn't have enough stats to actually beat out that Salvager and go 1-for-1 on the Tumult. So sweet inclusion of a rare card here. I'm usually used to be seeing that as a common. And isn't the common also stat shifted? Isn't it like a 0-3-2? and yeah, the water stats are definitely changed on the rare. You don't get to see this rare often. That's cool to see. And still, both players on very low cards, on 2 cards already in hand on day 5. That's not feeling too good. And yeah, what ways are there for a Kesha to draw a bunch of cards? I'm thinking about Conjuring Seal, about Magical Trainings, and yeah, that's... Otherwise it's quite limiting for them, I think. They don't really get to benefit too much of Gift of Self, and they don't have as many bounces for Magical Training as the Furnaces. And yeah, of course, actually Baba Yaga is still a good draw tool for them, I believe. Now getting to wait out for mana decisions again. This can still oftentimes be a tough call, just really getting to know what is most important to you, if you need to mana, if you need to set up for the future, if anything is important for you. And those decisions can sometimes be really difficult to figure out. But we do eventually see a card go to mana, and now Erlaya starts off with a Magical Training, utilizing the 2 cost from reserve, so it's not as expensive and feels too punishing from reserve. Just looking to draw a card. And Trace also looking to pick up some more cards by using their hero ability, already seeing their Frankenstein and probably looking to resupply. They could use the Sabotage as well. And actually I think I'd like just lowering the potential plays here for the Akasha, but not deciding for that, and instead likely resupplying a Frozen Delivery here. Oh, not going for the Frozen Delivery. I think I would have liked the Delivery just because it's another after you, and you get to resupply as well, just like you would with Gibble. I would expect to see now the just the after you from the Akasha, unless there's some more slow plays. And yeah, there we just after you. And now it's again Trace's turn, and I think that's the reason why I would have liked the Frozen Delivery. You can just slow play as well, without showing a lot what you're planning to do, and you still get to after you. And still, actually, first card they find afterwards is a Salvager, so they get to after you anyway and play a body alongside it. Oh, and we see a unique here being offered as a resupply in the report order. But I think I like the Frankenstein more than the reporter order. It's a reporter order that's more expensive, but has a Ada Lovelace effect. And I think I just prefer having higher stats and the lower cost. But actually, it's a 3 cost at a 5 stat in water, so it's looking to not be easy to beat for a layer on that companion side. And also, the Frankenstein can't be off-you-goat, so this might be tough to beat out for a layer. And actually, the report order goes pretty well alongside for in mana decision with this Kill and Cylinder. Now the Moose is getting discarded for the exhaust of the Cylinder, punishing a bit that card wasn't played out earlier. And now playing the Alice onto that Salvage Expedition that is just looking to contest the reporter order probably now. Lost 2 dice roll. Oh, you're playing against an Levenka. That's unfortunate. Always rooting for the ghoul run here. just cool to see that. And yeah, there we still see a Alfigo for Erlea here, just still managing to get that 1-for-1, and is looking for the single advance. And I think as traced here, you're just looking to pass. You want to keep your Salvager for the next turn as an after you, and you don't really care about playing that out yet. It doesn't really benefit you a lot. And that's exactly what they also decide. So still very close and very tough decisions. But by now, Traced is slowly picking up card advantage and making it harder and harder here for the Akasha to find win conditions, I believe. This time, both players manaing rather quickly. Esselin is definitely down on time, being down 6 minutes so far to Erlea. And yeah. So timeout is a thing that you now have to think about. And yeah. We do already see a Frankenstein here in reserve. That is definitely one of the better cards. I think there are already 2 in reserve as well. But Traced is about to reshuffle their reserve. But actually going for the Sabotage and going after that Alice, I really like that play. Just utilizing these landmark triggers to just a Sabotage is a thing that I really like. And oh, that is a very late Haven. And it's actually not even being played. Because yeah, I think at this point, the Cylinder might just be better than the Haven. Even though seeing Havens in general is probably what you want on a deck like this. But yeah, I think with having that Cylinder in reserve, you just prioritize that pretty much always over the Haven. Traced just keeps slow playing. I think it's they are not really threatening to play removals. But now Erlea seems to be a bit out of things to play and has to play Baku, but this is just easily being outstated by anything from reserve. And now Traced for the first time can look to set up a bit more for the following days, play out their Cylinder, play out 1 cost or 2 cost, and then go into the next day by being up 2 expeditions and look to close out the game. Okay, here's the Cylinder alongside the Killer Elemental. I like keeping the Scout around in reserve just because it's cheaper. Maybe there's an argument for keeping that Elemental. But yeah, it's definitely looking, at this point, it's looking super good for the Traced. And we, interestingly enough, didn't see any sabotages for the Akasha this game to somehow deal with all the resupplies from the Traced. But Esselin in a very strong spot now, looking to convert this game, having a bunch of after use, even though that Akasha would want to be the after you queen, but Traced definitely looking to take the spot on that one so far. Oh, Traced forgot to put up counters on their Cylinder last turn, so they don't get a free boost. And the thing that I like about the Cylinder more than the Haven is, you can use your Cylinder as last card of the day, and don't have to play it when you, or don't have to use it when you're using, or when you're playing out a character, and it's just feels more flexible. I can already feel my voice getting worse and worse by time. Just having to talk myself for this time. And we do see a first haven here for the trace, getting to resupplying into another Frankenstein. That is looking super good. Not being able to be removed by Off You Go, and in general just a super well studded body for the cost. And yeah, having pretty much set up all the tools. If there's one more slow play for the trace, they are super happy, so they can use all their mana as effectively as possible, and then just close out the game. And I'm not sure if there's much the Akasha can do at this point. We do see a first Nihilum of the game, but I kind of doubt that it's useful at this point, and I think it's just losing the day it's played. And we do see a second Frankenstein here in reserve, and that is just looking to put out so many stats. Those two on its own are just putting out 7 worth of stats, and then the Elementals looking to put out 3 more stats onto the opposite side. And yeah. Oh, true, the Frankensteins can also just trigger the cylinder to get additional boosts. So they are 5/5/5. That is super strong. We just see that Baku as immediate answer, but it's not really threatening anything. So I wouldn't be too scared as traced. You may be fearful of some beauty sleeps, but other than that, you're pretty much feeling fine at this point. Cole goes right back into the next meeting. 2 meetings in a row. You're grinding on. Just making these meetings back to back. And yeah, here Aslan is taking the game. Congrats to them. Just double advancing, and then once more getting to 1-for-1 at the start of the game, and then just going 4-0 in the last 2 days. Very clean game. GG's. Since I've learned the scenes, switching the scenes is muting me, I just go back to the screen and look at it, so everyone can see it. And let's see who's still playing. Still see Tempet and Damien on the upper tables. Is Damien still undefeated? Yeah, they are. So if the next round is Damien against Tempeta Lanesh, I definitely want to see that. But otherwise, I might stick to lower tables for another round. And let's go to who we haven't, to Neoflake, and okay, this game is over. Then let's go to Caballo and Insane again. And Caballo currently up 2 expeditions on the Tumult on Sigismar against another Traced. And I think it's not going to change soon the state of the game, state of the board, since Sigismar's just ahead way too much, and nothing here for the Traced is looking to catch up on stats anyway. And yeah. Oh, I remember this category Rune Alchemist. It's basically a 1/1 Alchemist that's a token producer, but instead of being a 1/1, it's a 2/1 and it's drawing from hand, so that's nice. Lost to the only Vike player probably ever. I think a bit more Axiom players are running Vike. I think that's probably one of the best commons in the class, just because it has the 2/2 stat line, and no other Axiom card sadly has that. But yeah, it's not often that you see Vike, since Axiom in general isn't too common of a class, of a faction. So let's go to, let's just go to table 17. The chase against Soup Plouf. And it's Sadi against Akasha. And yeah, it's true, it's the category Akasha that we've seen earlier, and we're in a hostage game. Let's go. We're getting hostage on the tournament. Oh yeah, putting Nylims into mana. Yeah, that's tough, but yeah, that matchup just therefore might be a bit tough because the exhausts not being useful at all is quite hard. But this matchup, it's looking pretty over. A single small step now is winning the game here for Chaser, and Alzadi also just being completely out of cards. Nothing to do. Just facing a bunch of celebration days probably. And Yikes is mentioning poor Alzadi. Yeah, that is pretty unfortunate to face a deck like this when you're playing a rather slow deck and just want to set up for late game, and your opponent is just a better late game deck than you, and you don't really have a win condition into it. And we do see the Akasha just drawing a bunch of cards for now, maybe looking for celebration days. I'm surprised to see the Conjuring Seal being used alongside the category proc, but maybe Akasha isn't running any small steps, and they just look to win on the board now, since there's only a Dorothy Gale available for the Atsadi, and yeah, there's a Kraken coming out, is sacrificing this Tooth Fairy and winning both expeditions. An interesting build for Akasha. Definitely not used to seeing Krakens out of Akashas, but I mean, it worked this game. Why can't it work in other games? What the hell? Yeah, that's an interesting Akasha list, but it was also running Celestial Blast, and we are not used to seeing that card ever. I think I've pretty much never seen Celestial Burst being played anywhere, and it's interesting list, but I think there are some more optimal ones. So we're still waiting for the Tempetal and Nash game to finish, and then we should go into round 5 already. And this is a Kojo against Aphanos, and it's currently even on the tumult going into tiebreaker, but Kojo is having that Hua Mulan stick around for the following day, but otherwise is completely out of resources. Luckily gets Buddha as well, but other than that, not a lot of resources available for them. And Tempetalanesh being at a 640 elo, that's a very impressive number. That is super cool to see. Is he rank 1 with that currently, or is there still someone with more elo? Kojo getting an Isun Boshi, that's not what you want to see. And the answer of Tooth Fairy into that Mana Eruption. So Kojo already being on the last play for the day. If it's a Kaibara, easy. If not, might be a bit tough. And it's another Mana Eruption, getting rid of a 1/1/1 Tooth Fairy. And I think if there's a off you go for Tempet, the game is over. He just plays out Studious Disciple, plays off you go, reduces the cost, plays off you go again, but instead gets Mage Dancer, and that might also just single-handedly win the game here, together with some Beauty Sleeps. Yeah, that is basically doing the same as off you goes, just a bit more mana efficiently. And yeah, Tempetus is taking the game. Has to play fast, since he's down on a few seconds and might just get timed out. But already has the win on board, just needs to pass now, and the game is his. And yeah, GG to Tempet. Still being undefeated here. Haven't seen them show up in a while, but definitely whenever they show up, they do perform, and yeah, always impressive showing. So for anyone else joining in, we are on week 13 of the AWOL Mondays, and we are now going into round 5. Still 2 more rounds to be played after that, since we're still on 7 round tournaments, even with only being on 72 players. So we have at max 1 undefeated player at the end. I think actually 1 undefeated player should be guaranteed. Should it? I'm not sure. So let's jump into who do we not have watched yet? I think we haven't watched Martin Peshur today against Clem. Getting to load some game odds. Reloading for players to choose decks and manas is my favorite thing about tournaments. Never knowing when it actually starts and how often you should refresh the page. But just looking at the names, I feel like I know Clem, but I feel like they were on a different team for a while. And Martin Peshur, I've definitely seen that name around a bunch. I know they were playing Sigisma a while back, but I think they've also been switching decks a bit. I think I've also seen them on the Farners and other decks. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what heroes we'll see on this table. But I still expect some sort of meta heroes here. Still waiting for game odds. And now we're finally in game. And we do see a rather interesting matchup in Fen against Basira. And we do already see day 1 the Nayala coming out here for the Fen, just shuffling their Snowman back into reserve and putting a Esmeralda into reserve. Just already looking to give fleeting to the Basira here. And this is a potential 2-0 here for the Basira, having 1 cost plus Chiron. That would definitely be the strongest start for any Basira player. But instead we just see Pathfinder and maybe a 1 cost. And yeah, there's the Blade Dancer. I'm not sure what you actually boost up. Yeah, I think I would also prefer the red, just because you can play that out you can play that out cheaper. But maybe giving it to the Blade Dancer and making it more valuable to play. Not sure. But definitely Basira is one of the heroes that wants to find early leads, and then as soon as the opponent has set up a decent reserve, they want to play Akloots, exhaust the reserve, and then look to trade through the Akloots. So for now, Basira managing to keep up their game plan, has to find card draw, I feel like, and the Fen picking up a very decent card for them in that Mechbang Hoarder that is already looking to put out a bunch of stats and potentially win a single expedition on its own. So the Fen has 2 more mana to do pretty much freely what they want. Oh, and we do already see that Akloot coming out here, just exhausting the Fen already. That is interesting to see. I wouldn't have expected it that early, but yeah, it's already looking to take at least 1 expedition. this is now kind of forcing out the Nyala, but yeah, playing Nyala here for Fen, definitely an okay position. Just shuffle the Esmeralda for the Snowman that was shuffled earlier, and you're quite happy about this position. Oh, this Esmeralda, I haven't checked it out before, but it's basically the common Esmeralda. It just has one more stat and the additional line of text of support that each character controlled by target player gains fleeting. So actually this is super sweet here for the Fen, now also getting to give fleeting to that A.W.O.L so it can't exhaust the reserve again, and just shutting that down for now. So it's a bit harder now for the Berserker to get those easy single 1-for-1 trades, since that's pretty much all they are looking for when they are ahead, and they don't really need to over contest on both expeditions anymore just to try and cheese expeditions. They already got the lead they want, they just need to find a way to maintain it for now, and if not, they need to build up a card advantage to play out the later stages of the game, I feel like. But it's now Fen's turn to play, and most threatening play here would be probably Tanuki's. We do instead see the Magpeng that we saw earlier, that was bounced back to hand. And now it's Basira's turn to play. That's the play I would have expected, just playing that red into the Magpeng, looking to contest it with potential boosts going onto the red. But yeah, playing out the Blade Dancer alongside the red is looking super weak, since it's just putting out 2 more stats for 3 mana, and that's usually not worth the cost. So yeah, let's see what's the actual play here. And we do see a Cloth Cocoon coming out here, so that is giving an easy 1-for-1 for the Berserker. Of course, they do have to commit more resources and are on 2 cards now in hand. But yeah, just getting a 1-for-1 that easily is super sweet for the Fen, for the Berserker. And also, Fen having the Off You Go in reserve, getting that resupplied is a bit tough, since that card feels pretty unplayable from reserve, and you need to find a way to bounce that card back to hand to make good use out of it. And usually you want to keep your card bounces for cards like Magical Training, because they feel much more efficient to be played. But the Fen has found an Armile that is potentially just looking to draw a bunch of cards, and also looking to trade expeditions 1-for-1 rather safely. And that could just be played out now for getting some card advantage. And I think if this Armile comes down onto companion side, there's pretty much no threat in that being outset. Well, actually there's A.W.O.L. A.W.O.L could outstat this. And this now might be a super painful turn for the Berserker, since they are looking to lose all of their resources to that support ability of the Esmeralda, and they are currently looking to set up a lead on the Tumult. But yeah, as soon as there's Esmeralda plus maybe an Off You Go, it's again looking super rough. But instead we do see a Anansi come out waiting for the last card from the Basira, and now we will likely see the Esmeralda support. And yeah, that's exactly what happens. So Fen is getting back even on the tumult, and Basira is very sad about only having one card in hand and playing on a very, very low resources from now on. I'm kind of sad about the discard decisions here for the Fen. I think I would have really enjoyed them keeping around the A.W.O.L and discarding 2 cards from reserve the following day just to draw 2 cards, to put out a bunch of stats for 5 mana and tell the Basira, well, even if you have enough stats to outstat my A.W.O.L here, I still have 2 more mana and you have to somehow deal with that. And that is a pretty unfortunate draw here for the Basira, getting the Serengar that is super weak on either of these expeditions and isn't putting out a lot of stats. And that Ozma also not looking too hot. It's requiring a boost to draw a card when it leaves the expedition, but currently it's only getting activated by either a Fire Rabbit or a Helping Hand to actually draw, and both of these is contesting that last card in your hand, so you would get the advance. And Fen just realizing, well, you get the card, if you get the card draw, you get it anyway. I might as well just sleep it to get up to game point and only need 1 more expedition to win the game. So good luck trying to figure out a way to stop me. And yeah, Basira doesn't even have a 1 cost, it seems, and just passed the turn, hoping they can somehow get back the following day. But by now Fen is also quite low on resources, of course, 2 mana up, but resource wise it's not looking the best for either player. Fen resupplying a magical training here that is currently looking to do nothing. It just feels like a waste of 3 mana. Maybe it draws them into an important card if they don't already have a way to solve this board in hand. But other than that, the magical training definitely not being what you're looking for. The Esmeralda being a bit better, just at least currently advancing on Mountain on that companion side. But the Magpeng resupply, that is looking super strong. But unfortunately, the Magpeng doesn't have from reserve triggers. But currently, Magpeng plus Beardy Sleep is looking to win here for the Fen. So yeah, this should be one. Just play Magpeng onto hero side, wait what's the last thing the Basira can play, and then Beauty Sleep. This game is over. Yeah, just after using with Martingale is also fine. I think I would have still preferred just playing opposite expeditions, so that when another card is played, you can just choose the expedition where your character would contest an empty expedition. But of course, Fen can still just play out their Magpeng. I just like winning with as little cards played as possible. But yeah, this is definitely still a win here for Martin Peshura. So congrats to them winning this fifth round. And yeah, we can go to the next one. So still a bunch of tables running. I think I just go to table 19. Crew Skulls against Case No. I always love spectating German players, and Case No, one of the the more known German players in the online scene, is on Kojo today. Usually known for their fan for me by now. Looking quite good, or it's looking even against a Gururang at this point, but Gururang currently not having any tokens to benefit from with their hero ability, and yeah, it's looking like a Gururang list that is playing very little tokens. We've seen only 2 cards so far that are producing tokens for the Gururang. So interesting list, not prioritizing the tokens too much, but rather tempo, and trying to win on that. And yeah, having 3 Jins in play here for Kojo, that is looking super cool. But I think a Ordus Cadets is looking just to win that hero side. But no, Gururang doesn't have anything left and has to play out a carrier from hand, just setting up for the following days, hoping that the double advance here for the Kojo isn't immediately taking the game afterwards, and they have some time by setting up here. It's super unfortunate if you have answers in your deck to a board state, but you just don't have them in hand, and therefore you have to concede a double expedition. This always feels so tough. Time to take notes on this Gururang. Yeah, definitely. Still need to figure out a way to play Gururang for myself. Maybe I'm seeing useful things here. But yeah, I think definitely playing Bureaucrats and Gururang is a strong way to play the hero. And yep, Kojo now getting to ramp a single time with Tiny Jin and probably drawing twice with Mighty Jin, since you don't want to mana them because they are stronger when played from reserve and get those Haven boosts. And yeah, that's exactly what Queso's looking to do here. Draws twice, manas once, and has these beautiful Mighty Jins now set up to be played into that Companion Expedition and getting 6 stats each, and are super hard to remove. And it's not often you get to see a Kojo that has that many cards. Still after manaing on day 7, has 4 cards left, 2 cards in reserve. This is looking strong. But the Gururang has the first play now and has to hopefully find a way to win this day or defend this day. You wonder whether Baba Yaga or Field Reinforcement is better. That's a good question. It seems like this Gururang is running Baba Yaga and rare Field Reinforcements. But yeah, I've definitely had the thought myself in Farnas decks. And there I kind of liked having the Field Reinforcements a bit more, or I was playing those. And I'm not actually sure that's much better, but yeah, that's at least what I used in Farnas. But for Gururang, I think, yeah, I'm not sure what makes sense for Gururang. I haven't thought about Gururang lists yet. That was the wrong button. Let's go to the tournament page again. And still some tables left. Let's go to, I think, 34 should be the lowest progress gamed. So let's go to Sybil against Telupas. And we see a casher into a farmer's, and it's and a casher that has already 7 cards in hand. It's playing Barkus, it's playing Helping Hands, it's playing Rare Off He Goes. That's interesting. It's playing how this card is perfectly ordered. That's looking funny. So we do see a banishing gate here from the Afanas, but that's answered by a Baku discarding the last card in hand here and getting the 1/1. And yeah, this is looking to be very tough for the Afanas. Very low on cards, and if there's a Tooth Fairy or another way of sabotage for the Akasha, it's getting even tougher. You would run 3 rare RF. Is RF just Rhyme Frost for field reinforcements? No. For Ghoul Run? Yeah, and there's the mentioned Tooth Fairy, and Fun is just, well, I can't beat Baku into Tooth Fairy, and we do see another Sakurabru, and this is just like the Sakurabru of Erlaeus. I think it's a bit worse. I'm not sure what Erlaeus Sakurabru is doing, but I think it's definitely on play. Target opponent discards a card. And Yo, that's my bro. That's is very similar to yours, I believe. That's funny. Sakurabru and yeah. So Akasha taking the game against Afanas, and there was a unique discarded. Let's see what it does. It's just sabotaging and gaining boosts. Okay. How do I get out of this help? Okay, yeah, like that. So are there still tables left for this round? Yeah, there's Banhole against Tempet, the Lanesh. Actually, let's jump into that. Both super strong Afanis players. And currently Tempet is ahead on the Tumult, is up 2 mana, is up in cards, and is currently looking to trade expeditions. So good position for him, and Banhole has to find a way to deal with this. Also, there's a super sweet Spindle Harvester waiting in the reserve, 1 cost, and it's not close to be perfect in any way, but still getting the anchored and getting to bounce spells at dusk is probably what most of honest players favor. There are still some upgrades. There's the on-play anchor, there's the 1/1 cost, and there's the only having 1 boost condition to bounce a card at dusk. But yeah, still a very sweet Spindle Harvester, and Banhole now looking to contest this hero expedition with a Mage Dancer. That is very scary and looking to put out a lot of stats, but it's kind of easily answered by any removal of Tempet. So yeah, that might be a bit tough. And also, I'm not sure how many spells Banhole can play alongside this Mage Dancer, so it might just go up to a 4/4 depending on what that last card is. But yeah, it's quite likely this is also a spell, so at least 6/6/6 onto this Mage Dancer that Tempet has to contest here. Yeah, let's see if that's the line that's actually going to happen here, or what else do they still have. Oh, and that's another beauty sleep. Just getting to put to sleep 2 more characters. But yeah, this line is definitely still losing into a single removal spell from Tempet. And yeah, playing out that Spindle Harvester onto the Flamel Expedition probably means that Tempet also has either a Beauty Sleep or maybe also a Banishing Gate, since I believe they started running that in their list. And yeah, puts to sleep that Spindle Harvester. And now, is there any removal for Tempet here? No, there's only a Mage Dancer, but I think together with Helping Hand, it's still winning. Also, Magical Training actually giving enough boosts with 2 boosts per spell. And there the split between common and rare Magical Training making a difference, getting enough mana just due to that 2 cost of the Magical Training, and beautifully waiting out with their Mage Dancer until every threat is gone here from Benhold's side, and then afterwards still getting enough stats to win on that Hero Expedition. Very clean game here from Tempeta Lanesh, going into the, I believe, 5-0 bracket for now. Super sweet game. 560 elo, that is crazy. And yeah, we're already onto days round 6, and yeah, it's the matchup I was talking a bit earlier about. It's Damien against Tempeta Lanesh, 2 Afanis players, and this one, even though one of them is likely gonna be in the finals, or is definitely in the finals, it's still a game I want to watch. Actually, let me check how many undefeated players there are for now. There are 3, Damien, Rico Fenwick, and Tempeta Lanesh. But let's take a look at the double undefeated table, and Damien against Tempeta Lanesh. It's 2 different styles of Afanis here clashing. It's, I think, on the one side the more standard version of Afanis that is just looking to bounce as many cards as possible, against Damien's Akasha list that is more focused on resupply and Nylem, and also, of course, nothing to forget are the Belasenka uniques that Damien has, which are absolutely crazy. For anyone who doesn't know these Belasenkas, they are on play double exhaust, and 2 of those are on play also opponent discards a card from their hand, and the other one is when I leave the expedition zone, the opponent discards a card. So super insane Belasenkas, always looking to attack all the resources from the opponent, and they are super strong. So now, for now, we just have to wait. I think the unique distribution for Tempet is a bit different. He's, I think, running single Spindle Harvester and 2 red uniques. The red uniques for Tempet are on the one hand discarding permanents, so pretty nice into a Nylem matchup. So yeah, Tempet should be nicely tagged into Damien, at least against these Nylems. And there is 1 red that is just 2 and 1 cost, and a bouncing card when it goes to reserve. It's not the best for bouncing conditions, but getting a 1 cost red when played from reserve, that is solid, I'd say. And Tempet here just starting to slow play. Either they are looking to trade expeditions, or they want to play Magical Training, tries to get an early lead on card advantage, but they do draw into field reinforcements and can now just probably put a token onto companion side. No, actually still go for that hero side. So this would get punched by a Helping Hand, but Damien doesn't have it. So Tempet, super greedy early game, but getting 2 draws and an expedition, that is one of the best starts you could get in this matchup, I'd say. That was super strong day one, and you don't usually get such a big lead on the first day of the game. Really liking the position already here. And interestingly enough, Damien is running rare Studious Disciples. We already see the first Nylum here coming out, and now Tempet is looking to find their 3-2 red, I believe it is, as soon as possible to remove this Nylum. And they do have a Flamel in hand, just looking to count out that moth, picking up their magical training again and going up one more expedition into this Nylum configuration. I really appreciate that both of these players are super familiar on their decks and aren't taking too long in the early stages of the game. I would expect that game slowing down as deeper the game goes, because in the early game I think most of the decisions are rather easy, but they are definitely getting more and more complicated when going into later stages of the game, especially when you have to try and figure out a way to get back onto mold. And I think, I'm not sure how this deck of Damien plays, but I could imagine this being better when played from ahead, and it's feeling very tough when you're playing on your opponent being on this much of a card advantage. But maybe these Belasenkas are just strong enough on its own and just still do the trick. But yeah, Tempet definitely knowing the list, playing around it beautifully, not letting Damien allowed to make use of their Belasenkas, even exhausting their own character to get two exhausted cards to make him discard once, and beautifully playing around that. I really like those plays. Now seeing a Spindle Harvester that's also not looking to go into reserve, and again not looking to be exhausted. We see Damien now starting to cycle cards, drawing with magical trainings, and now it's actually the first time that Damien would have a chance to play out Belasenka, but instead just plays out another magical training to win on that companion expedition, probably for now looking for their cards. But yeah, that was the first time that Damien could have played one of their Belasenkas. And that was only due to the discount by the Studious Disciple. And interestingly, just setting up another Studious Disciple to go into reserve for now and looking to discount something. So they definitely do have something in hand already that they are planning to play and just want that additional mana. That is, you don't see that too often, but I really love these plays where you just commit cards to the board and say, well, it's kind of bad for resource management, but I need that to set up my next turn and make that easier to play out. And I really love these kinds of plays. But yeah, it's definitely being down 2 expeditions into Tempet and Nash definitely never feels nice, and you're definitely still sweating to find a way back into this game. And yeah, we are already on day 4 by each player having spent around 4 minutes. So definitely both seem very confident in their own deck and in the decisions they have to make. So yeah, that's super cool to see these very experienced players. And as it seems, Damien not having found a Belasenka yet, I think I actually know why they played out their Disciple here, just to get a card into reserve that they can exhaust to get the double exhaust for their Belasenkas, but they unfortunately didn't draw into that, so now have to play with a Sabotage. But still 5 cards left here for Tempet, having that Spindle Harvester that was anchored the previous turn. It's looking good for them. also now finding the Mage Dancer that's looking to contest that Tooth Fairy pretty well. I'm not used to commentate such fast games. These players are super fast. And there's a Moth to a Flame activating that Nylem as well to put out a few moths, but I can't imagine that they are now trying to contest that Mage Dancer and potentially looking making the other Afanas look to just take a double advance by boosting up the Spindle Harvester a bit more. And yeah, also now Tempet just boosting up the Mage Dancer for now, but also boosting the Spindle Harvester at the same time. So that makes me think that there might be removal here that's coming out for Tempet to take a double advance. Damien probably realizing that and just wants to make sure that if there's removal, they have to still play 2 spells to get a double advance. And yeah, Tempet now just setting up by playing a Spindle Harvester and anchoring, not even bothering to boost that one up at all yet to bounce cards, but maybe there's a helping hand and they get to bounce cards that way. And if there still is a helping hand, this is also quite brutal since it would be blocking Damien once again. I really love these setups. This makes your opponent think so much about the potential threats you have, even if there's nothing now, and it's just really set up as a 1/1/1. You instinctively think, well, you're not playing your Spindle Harvest out to do nothing at dusk. You always want to bounce cards, and what's the only way that you can bounce cards? Well, it's helping hand, and if you play helping hand, I still have to play something. Otherwise, I just go down a 3rd expedition, and just making your opponent think about that, even if that's maybe not the case, is such a amazing play, and it just shows the level of play these players are on. Now boosting up the Tooth Fairy, and yeah, there's even a Joyride, so that is still looking to just block through that helping hand. So they would have actually needed to put both boosts onto that hero side, but actually Tempet favoring to boost that Alchemist twice to get a draw instead of the block. Since they are already up 2 expeditions, they don't bother about going up even further and just prefer drawing cards, getting card advantage, and yeah, of course, getting expeditions if you're two up doesn't matter at all. And yeah, being 3 away now, having 4 cards, a 4-card advantage, it's looking super doomed for Damien. So super strong showing for Tempet Laneige today once again, so far. And that Joyride setup, just getting 2 boosts onto that Harvester to bounce and then still getting the draw from the Mage Dancer. Such a beautiful play. So beautiful. And yeah, Damien actually still decided to mana this turn, so they can only play 2 more cards with that Rime Frost and Moth to a Flame. And as soon as the Spindle Harvester is played by Tempet, the Rime Frost doesn't even create an additional Moth due to the Nylem. And yeah, it's just looking kind of sad. And this, to me, is looking like a 2-0 to Tempet Laneige, just due to the sheer card advantage they have developed by now. And actually, the Rime Frost would still get value if Tempet now is deciding to play a spell. But if there's one more character, this Rime Frost is just giving 2 boosts and otherwise not really doing anything. And there's now a Banishing Gate removing the Alchemist from play. It's not being able to be replayed next day. And it's taking the double advance for Tempesta Laneige anyway. And very sad game for Damien. Seems like they didn't find pretty much anything they wanted to find. And yeah. Still, Tempesta just looking to boost up their Mage Dancer to draw cards at dusk, and now also bounce their Joyride back. Good consistency, just knowing their deck, and yeah. Damien asking draw. Yeah, just favoring the draw over the boosts onto the Harvester, but I think that definitely makes sense. And you don't really care about the board at this point. You just want to make sure you get the victory in the end, and they still actually managed to find small step through that additional draw, I believe. Yeah, GG's to Tempesta Laneige. Super strong game. Was super impressive to see all the small things they tried to set up and play around. That was an amazing game. But that was surely not the last game of round 6, so let's go and see the last games. There's also now Rush against Ben.O.W.L. I would love to take a look at that, but we just saw Nafanas and saw Ben.O.W.L the round before as well. So let's go a bit further down. Maybe here too. We haven't seen Maiev, at least. We've seen the game of Bripost, I believe. But it's a 170 elo Sigismar against a 300 elo Afanas. And currently the Sigismar is threatening to take the win here. But of course Afanas still has 4 mana left and a bunch of cards. So one character plus a Helping Hand would win, and the Alchemist is already looking to win the Expedition, and Helping Hand is now looking to win on that companion side. So Bripost is taking this game on Afanas. Usually I would favor this game to the Sigismars, but sometimes Afanas just gets too big of a card advantage lead and they just run away with the game and win like this. So GG's to Bripost, winning this one in a tough matchup. And let's see what other table builds we have to watch here. I think we haven't seen either players here on table 17 with Shroomf against Taco, so let's go to that one and see what's going on over here. And it's a Natsadi against a Fen, and that is something you don't usually get to see. A 11-11-11 Sakurabru. How did that even happen? I think I know how that happened. It just got physical training twice. That is super interesting. But it was physical training twice, but how did the final boost get on there? Probably a Chiron? And the Fen definitely needs some sort of Twinkle Twinkle to contest into the Sakurabru. That's what they do have. It's probably what they had before, because the Sakurabru had to stick around. And yeah. Atsadi has even more physical trainings, now looking to bump up their Haven Serengar as much as possible. And actually being on 15 mana, that is super crazy. What are the uniques here? Okay, those are a double ramp and a triple ramp unique on play. that is worth a screenshot. Holy, that is super cool to see. And now I know, I believe I know what I would love to play for cards in my Atsadi deck. I don't think I will get those, but that is looking super good. what's going on the table? Yeah, there's now a Mighty Gin that's also boosted up. So whichever card is now beauty slapped, the other card will just still win that expedition. So it's looking super strong for the Atzali. Still having 3 mana left, so they can still also just react to pretty much anything. And yeah, I'm not sure there's a way for this Fen. They probably have to play a Anansi to deal with this board state. But when they play Anansi, the other side is just left open, and one more character from the Atzali would just take the game. So yeah, impressive showing, impressive uniques here for the Atzali, but actually not yet the last character to be seen here. Just looking to ramp that tiny bit more, and yeah, one final Anansi here for Fen, and no, it's just a Pathfinder that doesn't contest the forest region. So Taco is taking this one. GG's and super cool uniques. Then let's find another table to watch. This time, I think the originality game is the lowest. So I know originality on Fen, today on Lindaway. That's cool to see. And Chaser is, I think, the... Was it Kadagi Akasha? I believe so, yeah. So the interesting configuration of Kadagi Akasha, that is running some beautiful Krakens in Akasha against the sacrificed deck itself, and that is interesting to see. But yeah, this still, both players aren't that close to winning yet, but of course Lindaway currently having double 2 expedition advance, but Akasha has the card advantage, and they are usually looking to capitalize off that. And even if there's now, if the Akasha tries to play out Kadagi this turn and it's immediately removed by a bomb, they don't immediately lose on the tumult, since they are array 3 expeditions in total. So they can kind of play the Kadagi uncontested at this spot. They don't have it, and just slow play with after use, and they do have that Armor Rock that's looking super nice, looking to off you go basically any character as a 4 cost with a 4/4 body on top, so super sweet. And yeah, forcing the Lindaway that's already very low on cards to play out first, and also our originality already down 9 minutes almost on the clock to this Akasha, to Chaser. And yeah, I think if Chaser wanted, they could just wait out the game, basically stall a bit, and then just time originality out. Maybe they had to disappear from the table for a short second, so they went that low on time. Not sure what happened there, but yeah, hoping we see some plays at least a bit. Tapping them all, getting a token, and probably already sacrificing their maw. I can't really imagine they would sacrifice their moth at this point. They are so low on resources that I can't imagine they can afford to do that, and just have to live with the defender character for now. Instead we see Moth Lantern still sacrificing that Chrysalis, getting a few moths into that companion side, and a 2/2 more on the companion side. So one more slow play basically by the Akasha, and they know where to play that Armor Rock and what to remove. They just go for the Armor Rock already anyway. This, yeah, it's not really punished by too many things. I think the best thing I can think of on top of my head is a Rare Alchemist but which Lindaway is playing that. And other than that, yeah, it's still probably just a 1-for-1 this day, unless the Akasha still finds another way to deal with that hero side here. And there's another gift of self. Sadly not putting out, sadly losing stats, but getting cards, so that's definitely needed for originality. But yeah, that's threatening an Alice, and the Alice that before was just blocking is now taking the advance. So yeah, originality just said sorry for playing that slow. They're having issues with their phone. So yeah, that's actually the reason why they are so low on time. It's unfortunate, but sometimes it happens. And now giving up a double advance, but at least getting to draw and set up some cards is good for the Lindaway, but I'm still not a comfortable position, since after that you're still down on resources. You have that, you have 2 landmarks set up, but other than that you're down 1 card in hand, and the reserve. I could argue that the permanents in play, they are worth the cards in reserve. So kind of even game now. And now it's also a good question if you start manaing cards or want to keep them around. But I think being being second player on Lindaway, you usually want to mana just to make your, to balance out your hero power that you would otherwise have to pay for. And it's, I believe, still a category list for Akasha, so they might have drawn into that. And I really like this play by Chaser here. If this is actually a category turn for the Akasha, they are looking to potentially after you 3 times before they actually play their category. They after you with Alice, they after you with their hero power, they after you with a magical training, and then they start playing out their category. So they minimize the risk of the Lindaway getting to play bomb onto it. But yeah, Lindaway also just having way too many after use. So if the Lindaway drew into bomb, the Akasha won't be able to play slow enough for the bomb not to come out this turn. And yeah, there's still one more slow play from the Akasha here, and now it decides if they actually do end up playing out a bastion. And yeah, there it is, the tower, the beauty. And now, does originality have the bomb? Is it in their hand? Or do we just see some celestial blasting? I'm not sure what the high cost card of choice for Chaser is here. I would kind of hope for a celebration day, but no. There's the bomb here for Lindaway, getting to remove this tower, perfectly recognizing that the triple slow play for Akasha into tower is possible, and just getting to punish this by a double advance and maybe small step immediately after. But yeah, this position is now very rough for the Akasha, even if there's no immediate small step for the for the Lindaway. You're definitely fearful of their ever showing a small step in the hand, and that would definitely instantly end the game, since you sadly, even if you play Celebration Day, you can't always play it before the Lindaway's turn, so the small step would eventually be just winning for the Lindaway. But no small step yet. Starting off with the Tooth Fairy onto actually the Conjuring Seal, and Akesha still has the slow plays with with Studious Disciple, and also just starting off with Rainforest, exhausting that Moth Lantern, so it can't immediately get played and get value. And it's a tough decision now on what's actually still left for the Akesha and what they can do. And you would still probably be fearful of a Celebration Day, since that's usually what you see alongside a caddy gear, and you would expect them to keep that around. And yeah, now the question is, how do you not overcommit into that? And Akesha can just slow play once more by playing out the Studious Disciple, but no, this Alchemist means there is no Celebration Day to be played this day, but this is super sweet. Discarding a permanent, getting rid of that Baba's Ispa, and now making it a bit harder for the Lindway to slow play. Still Lindway getting out a Studious Disciple that will likely be answered by a Studious Disciple of their own. And then it comes down to the last cards to be played this day. So now what's left for our originality? And it's a Off You Go. So Off You Going the Alchemist that now needs to be replayed to block on that hero side. And they also need a character or a boost onto that hero's side to block out that Tooth Fairy. They don't have it, so Originality taking this game, being down 12 minutes in total, and Chaser not choosing to time them out. Very nice of them, and yeah, Originality once again apologizing for the slow plays, recognizing that they were just way too low on time, but still managing to win in the end. And yeah, that might be sending us to round 7, and yeah, it is. And actually, Tempesta Lanesh being the only undefeated player at this point, the round before Rico Fenric seems to have lost to Caballo. And now Tempesta Lanesh looking to keep their undefeated status in a game against Sandodu, who is at this point should be 5-1, right? Yeah. So let's get to watch one last Tempesta Lanesh game for today, and then maybe the last couple of rounds that are running out. This round 7 for the 13th AWOL Monday, and yeah, after that we'll see the leaderboards, see who manages to get their entry for 39 cards today and gets the top 16. I think that's the most important part to get their invitational invites, if any new players get their invites this time around. But currently still having to wait for game arts to load. So yeah, players still manoing their cards, making decisions, and there we are in game. And it's another Afanas Mirror. Tempest this time getting to start off with a unique and with their Spindle Harvester. Interestingly enough, we've only seen Tempest get their Spindle Harvester and not really getting their reds this time around. Or maybe he's just playing Spindles. That would be interesting. Sandodu respecting the possibility of a helping hand, and that's actually in the hand for Tempest here. Super sweet start, definitely what you want to see, and yeah, super strong start, but also finding a early fields reinforcements just to draw and progress is definitely nice, but I'd still prefer the start here of Tempest, just getting out the unique, getting to bounce cards already and setting up a anchor for the following turn. Super strong. AWOL just offering Cole a Gurung list. Cole, what? Didn't you want to try some new decks? Was that including Gurung? Did you want to test out some Gurung plays? But on day 2 already, we also already see the first unique here coming out for Sandodu. It's unfortunately not as strong as the Spindle Harvester. It still gets to bounce spells when leaving the expedition, also requires 2 boosts, but doesn't have a anchoring condition that's that easy to accomplish, since they would need to put a spell from their hand in reserve to let this shroom get anchored. But Tempet going strong here on day 2 already, just putting out a Mage Dancer with 4/4 stats and just wants to force out another spell here for the side of Sandodu, either making it a very well, one more spell isn't quite enough here for Sandodu even, so they would kind of have to commit either 2 spells from hand or this helping hand, so they wouldn't get the bounce here from the Snoozer Shroom, so either decision here super awkward for Sandodu, unless of course there's one more helping hand in hand, then they just get to play that, get the advance that way, and are left with 2 cards in reserve at the end. So that would be a clean day for them. But yeah, having double helping hand this early on, not too likely, unfortunately. You need to make a video on Gurung. Why is that? The people already building Gurung can go flame me in the comments. Yeah, they will. You're fine. You won't be flamed. You're a good player. We know that. We know all. So yeah, actually Sandodu not playing out anything, just wants to get the bounce from the helping hand, prioritizing going down and maintaining cards over just being even. They probably figure either play is currently losing for me, so I just take the play where I think that I'm setting myself up better in the late game. So yeah. But definitely Tempet already on a super strong game plan, definitely where they want to be. It's otherwise even on cards in hand, but of course Tempet having 1 more card in reserve, so that's a bit favored for them. And yeah, there's an instant Tooth Fairy coming out to sabotage the unique already. This could of course be answered by a Tooth Fairy for Sandodu as well, but yeah, the sabotage decision this time around is a bit harder, since the Mage Dancer and the Harvester are both very good cards, and it's a hard decision to what to actually sabotage from those, if they even have it. You need to add a twist to decks you're playing, so you added 2 landmark requirements on your unique, so that is a crazy call. Wouldn't have expected that to be played on purpose. But we already see the second unique here coming out for Sandodu. It's very unfortunate here. This one is not the typical bounce at dusk or when leaving, but it's bouncing when played from hand. And currently they don't have anything in hand, and this is kind of looking super sad for them. And yeah, now Tempet is looking to just play out their Spindle Harvester again, giving it most likely 2 boosts due to the helping hand, bouncing the helping hand, and is just happy just trading 1 for 1, not really using too much resources, basically losing 1 Tooth Fairy to sabotaging a unique. But I think that's definitely a trade you're fine with taking, and yeah, just looking to single advance here. that is good practice of patience here. It's so incredible to see how frequently Tempet is getting these leads in the Ephanos matchups early on, and is just punishing these mirror matchups. It's crazy to see. Oh, I'm quiet for you. I can try to fix that or make myself a bit louder. I hope that's a bit better now. So yeah, still Tempet looking good. Finally, kind of finally, the Sandodu finding a tooth fairy of themselves, getting to sabotage the value generation for Tempet here. They do still have that Mage Dancer left that is just looking to draw a bunch of cards and is also losing fleeting. And already Tempet having the second Mage Dancer, looking to potentially double advance through these Mage Dancers, and therefore Sandodu finding the third unique of theirs. This also getting to bounce cards when played, and this now on play gets to return the helping hand again. And yeah, they therefore still have a bunch of plays they can do this turn. But of course, Tempet just setting up a second Mage Dancer, seeing that immediately be off you go, and now probably just plays out one more helping hand. Yeah, one more helping hand now is taking the single advance here on that hero side, but instead plays out magical training that would also just take a single advance, but it draws 3 over the 1 cut to the helping hand. So super sweet play here. There now needs to be a beauty sleep to punish this play, but there isn't. So Tempet just drawing a bunch of cards, setting up for future turns, and yeah, super strong. So yeah, now also this was pretty much a super expensive turn for Sandodu, just overloading their reserve by 2, having to discard twice and keeping their uniques around. Like, yeah, the discard decisions also made sense. It's just not looking to be a good game since now being down 4 cards basically, or 1 mana and 3 cards. Yeah, this is looking way too strong here for Tempet. Also, the Alchemist currently not contesting both of these expeditions in water that Tempet is on. Oh, hey Tempet, even in chat here. I've been praising your Ephanos play the last three rounds, I feel like, by now. It's just amazing to see. I think especially the last game against Damien, there were so many baits that I saw where you kind of forced plays, and that was so amazing to see. Yeah, at least getting to helping hand once into a Mage Dancer, but now the Mage Dancers contesting each other instead, and that's usually a play. Whoever has more cards just wins that battle, I believe. Oh, you play against Sandodu and the locals. That's cool. Yeah, I'm not playing too often in my local area, and one of my teammates, Void, is actually from my local scene, and I got to play him on the Tumult Championships this weekend, and we got to play each other twice, and we went 1-for-1. So yeah, that's my my experience with plays from my online scene. Actually, this Alchemist has a bounce ability, so yeah, now this Mage Dancer is looking to win over Tempet's Mage Dancer. But if there's Off You Go or Beauty Sleep, this should be just ending the game. Off You Go itself is not quite yet winning, since the Mage Dancer could be played again and the helping hand would be even in stats. But of course, if there's now Beauty Sleep, the game should be won, but otherwise just setting up. And yeah, having all the cards they could ever want. Still being 2 expeditions ahead. Looking to take the win soon enough. I'm not sure if Tempest is still running the small steps in their list. I think they cut down to 1 small step at some point, but I think still definitely changing up their deck list. So you never know what exactly to expect. And yeah. Actually still finds helping hand to keep around their Mage Dancer and draws some more cards. Super sweet. Oh, still on three cards left. Sandodu still deciding to mana a card. That is, I would have expected that. And Mage Dancer first play. I would expect the other Mage Dancer, either there's now a off you go, or of course the small step that is just winning the game. So congrats for Tempest Delanesh winning yet another AWOL or online tournament in general, going to 660 elo. Super impressive. Very impressive showing. Congrats. And yeah, let's see if there are some more tables to be watched. And yeah, there's actually another Farnas Mirror on table 2 with Damien against Banner. We haven't seen too many Sigismund players today. There weren't like these super popular Sigismund players showing up. No Cladius, no Woolitz. I think Fernaturi is usually playing the Wednesdays. Where actually there was Hathor that wasn't performing too well today, interestingly enough. Wonder what was happening there. But let's actually go to Keist now, I see here on the table. Against Maïf. And it's the Kojo against Sigismar. Currently, the Sigismar is looking a bit stronger, having that Grand Endeavor out now. But I think these 2-cost uniques from reserve should be enough stats to take a double advance here for Keist now, if I'm correct on that. So this should be 2-0 and the last day that Keist needs to win this game. Cole suggesting to Tempest just to lose once and give him like 3 elo, 2 elo to the missing out that he's on 666 elo. I'm not sure why that exact number, but yeah. Oh, and this Hua Mulan here looking super sweet, just looking to give enough stats to this Kitsune due to it being another haven, and now the Kitsune is winning on that hero expedition on its own, a companion expedition on its own, and that should be the win for Keisner here. And that Kitsune is actually nice. It's resupplying twice and then it's self-engineering into the discard, so you can boost itself. That is super sweet. So he didn't really even need the extra haven boost from the Mulan. The Kitsune itself was also self setting up already. But this one is the Mulan. That is super nice. It's basically the rare Mulan losing dusk losing fleeting at dusk, and has a additional an additional Bravos Bastion effect. That is super sweet. But that's it for the game. Let's see how many more tables there are left for the tournament today before we can see the final results. And let's take a look at one more WESH game for today. WESH against Originality. There were so many Afanos players today. It's crazy. WESH this time against on the Afanos against Originality, and currently looking to double advance, but I think the removal of the Tooth Fairy is enough stats. Actually, yeah, there's a Moth Lantern sticking around, so that's winning by 1 boost here into the Afanos. So congrats to Originality taking this one. Seems like they again had some connection issues with being that low on time. And yeah. Let's see what else we have here. Let's just go to here, Artemis against Insane, 94, and see what's going on here. Oh, this is Nevenka against Traced. Haven't seen these heroes too much today, but yeah, I think we've seen both of these players for a short moment at some point. And we do see a Gibble that's in play, but we don't see the Brass Bug alongside it. What happened to the Brass Bug? Or was the Gibble just Twinkle Twinkled or Sandman last turn? Not sure what was going on there. But currently, Nevenka looking to trade 1 for 1, not really bothering contesting that Gibble and just wants to win on that hero side. And yeah, with that Amelia, I think the Trace likely doesn't have enough stats to do it. Surprisingly playing out that Amelia still. Actually, it's okay for them. They can just... They get their Salvager and Gibil to reserve, so they don't really need this Amelia in reserve. And yeah. Nevenka just rolling for the fun of it, trying to hit the anchor onto their Cernunnos. And yeah, probably the Traced kept around their Gibil to potentially sabotage either Hathor or Cernunnos. But maybe they are just playing this Gibil for raw stats as a 6 mana 7/7/7. We just don't see Gibil be played too often. Sadly, not too good of a card itself. But it's definitely being played just for its portability and getting a lot of value that way in a lot of decks. So that's super cool. And yeah, Nevenka immediately playing that Cernunnos and therefore Traced immediately sabotaging the Hathor that's still available, and now gets to kind of slow play with their Salvager, and the Salvager actually just trying to contest that Cernunnos, resupplying into another Salvager. Not the strongest plays, but still currently looking to see what potentially is played here from the Nevenka, and actually Gibble right here looking quite strong. But yeah, another Cernunnos is looking to go 1 for 1, pretty much guaranteed this day. But at least Gibble is getting that 1 for 1 as well for the Red Traced. Maybe they still find another way to go 1 for 1 here and keep that Gibble around to sabotage one of these characters in the following day. But I think without any boosting permanence, it's looking quite tough to actually contest these Sennos without using that Gibil. And yeah, Traced for now tapping their ability, looking for cards, seeing what options they have. Finding an Inari so they can freely pretty much use their Gibil this turn and still get the Sabotage the following day. And now this Navenka rolling is 5 or 6 would be massive for them. Unfortunately, just the 2, so one of their sides only gets a boost. And just for, and I think it would have probably been always better to roll for this Sennos, so because you're definitely not keeping this one around, so you always want to anchor the thing that's leaving reserve. Yeah, you're preventing this from being sabotaged, but if this isn't sabotaged, the other character should be sabotaged. So I think it's in general just best practice to have the character stick around that's fleeting and not the character that still goes to your reserve. Both players still maning on this much mana. For Trace, I can understand it. They definitely have a lot of resupply tools and a lot of cards to be played. But recently starting to play Navenka a bit myself, I realized that yeah, in my deck especially, I want to ramp and get mana. But usually on Navenka, you're just fine playing on 7 mana at some point because all of your characters are so cheap and you don't really have a lot of ways to draw cards. So you heavily rely on that 2 draw per turn and just play those cheap characters on 7 mana and just keep playing those and not really having too much card draw otherwise. Or of course you could be playing the category the Mage Dancer bounce lists and they therefore have a lot of card draw, but then you're definitely ramping a lot. But these other lists that are just more tempo oriented, I think it's a bit tougher. And actually, here the Traced getting to sabotage even by using a unique that is creating a brass bug and sabotaging at the same time. Interestingly enough, not using the Inari immediately alongside it to sabotage this Martingale as well. I know the Martingale itself isn't as threatening, but just limiting the amount of slow plays for the Navenka would have still probably been quite nice. Oh, interestingly, there was a Heimdall played that may have target character switch expeditions, but it didn't. Yeah, it actually doesn't matter. It's in tiebreaker. Yeah, yeah, that doesn't matter. So now Traced gets to play their last card of the day with that Inari, but that is still getting twinkled, and yeah, even without rolling, the Navenka's already ahead by 1/1 stats, and is looking to win this game. So GG to Artemis, getting their win here on Navenka. Some nice showing. So let's see if this was already the last game of the tournament, and if we have some standings. And yeah, it seems that should have concluded the matches. And we're not quite yet seeing the final results. What game am I missing? Oh, here. Still not quite finished yet. So in a few seconds that should be resolved as soon as they pass. And yeah, now we have the standings, so we can go through the tournament results. Let me scroll down here so we see the points as well for them. So on first we have Tempête de la Neige, who we see, I believe we saw the last 3 rounds of them. Just some impressive Fanas gameplay here to get another undefeated 7-0. Then on a second there is Rico Fenric, I believe was on a Fanas, I'm not too sure. Then on a third there's Ben Howell, that was definitely on a Fanas, and AJT Caballo that got 4th, also 6-1 on Sigisma, I believe it was. Then for our 5 game winners, there is Sandodu being on Fanas. 6 there's Bripost, I believe was on Traced. Then 7th is Damien, C91 was on a Fanas. On 8th there's Jidan, who we didn't get to see. On 9th there is Originality being on Lindaway. Then on 10th Caterpillar, I think we also haven't seen. Then on 11th there is Mouse, also 5-1. On 12th Artemis, I think that was, I already forgot, I think it was Fen, right? Kasten on 13th with Kojo. And to close out the 5 game winners, or the 5 and 2s, there's Howard CJ. And to close out the top 16, there is Altered Aces Rush and Grief 82 that got the 15th and 16th with 4 and 3 stats at the end. So congrats to all of our top 16 and getting their invitational invite if they didn't have it yet. And also congrats to the winners. Impressive showing as usual, and definitely nice to getting to watch those games. But that is it for today. Thanks everyone for watching, for being here with me. And yeah, it was a bit late, since I unfortunately got to host myself for the first time and was told basically 20 minutes before that I'm alone today. And yeah, then otherwise I think there is, for Wednesdays there's usually the no unique, so if you want more altered and this time without uniques, you can check that out. Then of course on Wednesdays there's also the AWOL again, that's starting on 1:30 a.m. European time. Then on Thursdays there's the AQZ Championships hosted by one of my teammates, Pandy Andy, and of course I'm usually on there to cast with him. This week around, Keelan won't be joining there, but maybe we get Freeloader back. And on Fridays and the weekend there's usually the Spaghetti Alt tournaments, and if you want have time then to play, definitely check those out. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and now I have to figure out how to end the stream on YouTube. But yeah, was great being here. Thanks everyone for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.